Every trader wants to reach that place where trading feels clear, where the noise fades, and where their confidence doesn't depend on how the last trade ended. But few ever get there, not because they lack intelligence or work ethic, but because they spread their energy too thin. They're constantly searching. A new setup here, a new indicator there, a different mentor's strategy next week. It feels like progress, but it's just motion without direction. The fastest path to consistency isn't in adding more. It's in subtracting everything that isn't essential. You don't need 10 strategies. You need one structured setup, vetted and proven, that you can trade with precision and confidence. When you focus on one setup, you create a mirror for your process. Suddenly, there's no room for excuses, only clarity. You start to see the difference between randomness and structure, between luck and edge. The first time you trade just one setup, it can feel painfully slow. Days pass without triggers. The mind wants to fill that space with action. But that quiet is where the truth reveals itself. You begin to notice patterns, how the setup behaves at certain times of day, how it fails when volatility compresses, how your own emotions shift when you're waiting versus reacting. That level of awareness is impossible when your attention is scattered across multiple ideas. One setup simplifies your world enough for you to finally see yourself in it. Proof of concept is where real belief begins. Most traders skip this step because it's tedious. Spreadsheets, stats, screenshots, replays. But that work is what separates professionals from hopefuls. When you backtest one setup for months, tracking its win rate, MFE, MAE, expectancy, and drawdowns, you build something more powerful than optimism. You build evidence. And evidence changes everything. When you can show yourself the numbers, when you know your setup produces a positive expectancy over time, fear starts to lose its grip. You stop asking, will this trade work? And start asking, will I execute this correctly? That shift is the beginning of control. One setup also rewires your relationship with patience. In the beginning, it's uncomfortable. You'll feel the urge to act, to do something, especially when others are trading and you're waiting. But over time, that waiting becomes the edge. You realize patience isn't the absence of action. It's the presence of discipline. Each day that you wait for your setup to qualify, you're building mental capital. That calm, that restraint, that ability to sit and do nothing until your structure appears. That's what separates the impulsive from the consistent. You start to understand what trading should be boring really means. And through repetition, the setup becomes part of you. You stop needing to check rules mid-trade because you already know them. You start seeing the market unfold in patterns you couldn't recognize before. Even losses stop feeling personal. They're just data points inside a system you understand. This is mastery, not prediction, not perfection, but complete alignment between plan, action, and mindset. The market will always be uncertain, but your process no longer is. That's what allows true composure in chaos. But this path only works if you're honest with yourself. Most traders aren't. They want mastery but still take random trades. They call them intuition or adjustments, but they're really lapses in discipline. Every trade outside your plan dilutes your data and your confidence. The only way to prove an edge is to trade it consistently, to collect enough evidence that your sample size tells the truth. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's how you stop living trade to trade and start building something that lasts. And here's the paradox most traders never understand. Depth is the shortcut. The more you simplify, the faster you grow. Mastering one setup teaches you more about market behavior, psychology, and execution than cycling through 100 new strategies ever could. Once you truly understand one trade, its structure, its triggers, its probabilities, you start seeing the same logic everywhere. That's when trading transforms from guessing to reading, from reacting to anticipating, from hoping to knowing. So before you look for the next indicator or the next system, stop and ask, have I truly mastered even one? Have I proven it? Have I earned the right to expand? Because the fastest path to profitability isn't forward, it's deeper. Master one setup, and everything else follows.